This is Radar for On the Radar and Tape Log, coming to another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations. Different day of the week, like last time, due to traveling. So the first movie I watched was a movie that I actually watched on the train going to Kansas City. It was called Hero Dog, The Journey Home. And it was one of these cliche movies where maybe supposedly is part of a franchise of movie where you believe that this dog is like a military dog who saves the day and he's just there randomly to help people from movie to movie. It's a dub-approved movie, so it's like age appropriate. It's all about having faith and Christianity, all that other stuff. And this Natasha Henstridge and Steve Byers, like, I've seen their faces, but they also look like other actors. So basically, this dude, Steve Byers, is playing a blind guy who's a single father, but his sister is so accommodating, she takes care of the kid, even though she's got a husband too, supposedly. It was very weird, and it's her dog. And basically, this old man who was the captain of this ship in this small little town has a heart attack and crashes the ship. And of course, the blind guy doesn't come home, so the sister and the kids worry, and they send out the whole cavalry to look, and he was lucky enough that this blind guy has this dog to help him. It's like coincidental, oh, this dog is here to help. It's also coincidental that his son is good in the wild, and he's going out to look for his father and trying to help him, and takes his sister along, and they find the father, and they all live happily after, and even the guy who had the heart attack lived. It was super horribly put together movie with too many cliches and coincidental things. Like, oh yeah, this thing, this. Obviously, kids can watch it. It's rated PG. So it's really meant for kids. It's not really that great of a movie for an adult to watch. But good thing is, it's only 87 minutes. It's not like you're wasting your time for watching a 2-hour movie. Then I watched this other kids movie called Cranston Academy Monster Zone, where Jamie Bell is like the main character and Ruby Rose is the other main character. And there was obviously some other voice actors and characters in this movie that are familiar. And again, another thing was it was 87 minutes, so it's not that long of a movie. So basically, Jamie Bell's character is this really smart kid who makes all these inventions. His parents live on a farm. He gets an opportunity to go to this Cranston Academy where it's all geniuses. Then he's got a professor who doesn't like that he was like given a scholarship because he's not worthy. And, there's other things. And Ruby Rose is his roommate. I'm going to say this. I don't care if it's a live-action movie, a kid's movie, or a comic book. There's no way in any situation that at a boarding school, no matter where it is, a guy and a girl are going to be sharing a room, especially children or teenagers. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And it would make more sense if you have to share a room with some dude and she's down the hall. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. That's one thing that stuck out, that they're roommates. It's one thing to be classmates, lab partners, but then to be roommates was really stupid writing there. And the other thing is Ruby Rose, I like her from Batwoman and other things, but she kept going back and forth between like a British-Australian accent and an American accent. So I'm like, who was doing the editing or the recording of the sound going, this is not like lining up where her accent is different throughout the whole entire movie. Then they're a little bit cliche with one character being Hispanic and he didn't have to eat Hispanic food. It was like, okay, cool, we get it, whatever. So basically to try to prove that he belongs there, he tries to fix this nuclear reactor with some sort of dimension. He opens up a portal, and all these monsters come out, and he's got to save the day. So the movie is him trying to prove himself, but then he also got to save the day and prove everyone how smart he is. So this would be the type of show they could probably make money out of this movie and make it into a TV show or even a sequel. So overall, I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty interesting, all these little creatures and these monsters and all the interesting people that were on campus with him and things like that. I also suggest watching it. Then I watched the movie in 9 days, where Winston Duke from Black Panther, and Benedict Wong from Doctor Strange, and Bill Skarsgård from The New It, and Tony Hale from Veep, Arrested Development, Alvin, Chipmunks, Chuck, you name it, or Tony Hale's in this movie, and Zazie Beetz from Atlanta, The Joker, and Deadpool. So this movie is A 2-hour-long movie. B, it's a drama. So if you're tired like I was, you fall asleep and you're not paying attention. For the most part, it's a weird movie where Winston Duke is watching people through screens, and it's like very grainy film from like this 80s or 90s, and it's not the world's greatest film. And they tell you on the back of the movie, so it's not a spoiler, that someone that he's watching dies. So he's got to figure out someone else, because supposedly he's in charge of picking people to go live on Earth, and he used to. Very confusing premise. And then obviously he's testing all these people. There's a few actors I haven't seen before that are not, featured in the photo on the cover. Their names are not featured as the other two characters. And it's the whole movie is him trying to figure out who belongs. And the Zazie Beetz is kind of like different mold than everyone else, so it's kind of screwing around with him and stuff like that. And it was just weird because some of the scenes made no sense. The last 10 minutes made no sense. It was just a little bit confusing and all over the place. And this guy was trying to make some odd movie, this, Edson Oda. But it was like, okay, I get it. You're trying to prove who could live on Earth, and you're trying to see a different point of perspective. But overall, just like, you got a lot of good actors in this movie, so I'm surprised you got all these actors, but, like, it's not the world's greatest movie. Then I watched the movie On the Rocks, and that could be meaning two things. Drinks on the rock or your marriage is on the rocks. And, like, the movie was okay. It was average. I was like, okay, it's not a great movie. It's not a horrible movie. It's not a crappy movie. It's an okay movie. And it was made by Apple. So Apple had the money to get Rashida Jones, Bill Murray, and you got to get one of the Wayne brothers, Marlon Wayans. And again, 90-something minutes, not that long. But Bill Murray is somebody who I've been told throughout history is he doesn't check email, phone call. He has a POX box, and if you want to get a hold of him, you got to send it to his box. So I don't know, did Apple say, here, Bill, we got all this money that we just want to send you in an envelope to your POX box, and you can be in this movie, because Bill Murray's the type of actor, I don't think he wastes his time in bad movies. It's not a bad movie, but his movie's not that great. Like, even Garfield and a few other movies I watched with him, I was like, you know what? That was clever. That was funny. Like, Rock the Casbah and a few other movies I watched with him. I was like, you know what? That was interesting. That was clever. He's an estranged father who traveled all the time, cheated on his wife, so him and his daughter aren't the closest. But then you had the daughter, I don't know if she was visiting her mother or her mother-in-law, and there's the other rich people. It was very confusing there. And she's noticing a weird behavior in Marlon Wayans' behavior. So she talks to a bunch of people, and then one of the people she talks to is Jenny Slate, who her role in the movie is just to yippee-de-yap while in line at school, and she's annoying, so that's a wait. So she's like, well, I guess I'll talk to my father. He's a man. He knows things. But, of course, her father puts a weird, crazy idea into her head that the husband's acting weird because he's cheating on her with a young person that she works with. And so the whole movie is the two of them reconnecting as father and daughter, trying to see if the guy is, like, cheating, and he's not, obviously. So it's like, okay, whatever. It's like a waste of time. And I'm just like, okay. Bill Murray wasted his time. Marlon Wayans wasted his time. Rashida Jones wasted her time. I was like, yeah, this movie really doesn't really do anything. And it's just like, okay. Don't know why he wasted his time more than the other two. Then I watched a movie called Survivalist, where they have to throw in like an apocalyptic thing where people are getting sick and people are dying and not surviving. Malkovich character supposedly survives this, and he starts like some sort of cult thingy, and they like are looking for this girl who they think can't, she's immune, so they need to have her. And she runs onto this property by some former FBI dude who decided to just live out there even before this pandemic thing happened, and his father died really shady and weird. A lot of the deaths were weird. A lot of cinematography was weird. Some of the strategy things my roommate was saying was like weird if he wouldn't be doing that in that situation for coverage. It looks like a paintball area, the area he lives in. And supposedly this guy's been saving up for this for years, and he's trying to help this girl, but then all these dudes are on his property, and you know how it is. The main character kills off all the bad guys and tries to save the day, and then it's like, well, maybe he was infected, she's infected, and the movie ends with that. Well, I guess we gotta go leave now. It's like, okay, barely 90-minute movie. Again, a movie that probably shouldn't have been made. I don't know why John Malkovich is doing this, but maybe it's like Bruce Willis. He doesn't have anything else to do, and he needs money like Nicolas Cage, and he's just gonna make some bad movie. Because this main dude, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, I don't know if I've seen him in anything in particular that I can point my finger to, but again, I don't know why this movie was made. I don't know why On Rocks was made. I don't know what 9 Days was. Even the flawed kids movie, Hero Dog, The Journey Home, was probably the second best movie I watched this week. So, the best movie I watched this week was Monster Zone, Cranston Academy, because it was a children's animated movie, saving the day, monstrous creature. Interesting enough movie, and this kid's dog movie was pretty good. I'm not going to say 9 Days was crap. I'm just going to say it was like weird and confusing and all over the place, and too long of a movie, but good actor. On the Rocks definitely had 3 good actors, but again, why did Bill Murray waste his time with this movie? And why did John Malkovich waste his time with this movie in The Survivalist? Thanks for listening to another edition of Movie Reviews Observations, number 124. For On the Radar Today blog, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.